Hi, I'm Kerry Shawn Keys. It's a real pleasure to be reading for a distance reading series, Poetry as Bread. I would like to thank Tina Kane, the curator, for having me, and those of you listening. I'll be reading from Black Ice, just released this past May 15th, and then finishing with a few poems from a bilingual illustrated book of selected poems, Shoelaces for Chagall, to be published in Berlin in the autumn. First from Black Ice. You. You look around you. We are the same. Your friend on the diving board at the motel pool. Your wife submerged in chlorine in the pool. Kids playing possum and hide and seek, trying to fool. The dead are the same. Look around you. Your friend on the gangplank above the pool. Your wife's hair floating like seaweed in the pool. Kids playing dead and hide and seek, trying to fool. The dead are the same. Different details come to light. You gaze, then mirror your gaze in the mirror. Tom the Doubter. And the angel asked me then, Tom, do you want to begin? And I put my finger out through the hole to feel what might be real, and it was so cold. I turned to him and said, I'm no longer in doubt. For the love of God, I won't go, no. Tom the Doubter, a sequel. We heard you, Tom. We know you all too well. Bardolan doesn't want you anymore. Watching your finger stick out the hole, we grabbed it and pulled you through. Consolation Prize for Cornelius Plautus and Teresis. I listen to the birds fly by, of course. I'm indifferent to the ways of women and men. I tell them, of course, what there isn't to know, and my blood freezes over from drinking the slow water of their dreams. She was taking a sponge bath in her father's brain. If you were to live like me, the sun would drop runic arrows in your throat. You'd sprout plumes and zippers. I gave her a blue ribbon for her squirming epiphanies. What do you know of pleasure or pain? We are eating an apple in a stable at the racetrack, but your hands and head will be severed. Your mouth is painted with Elmer's glue. A cow migrates from the Indus to Europe. You will piss from a hole decorated with black flags. Your tongue is a dead snake in unsloughed pantaloons. I eat the birds, flying over the classifications and the buzzings, the trains and the hyperventilating volcanoes. They give me money for my services. Is the sky blue? I will take this pumice and crush it with my teeth into little people. Watch. Cicero is a raindrop. Babel is a paper mill. I am a pebble in a fountain on a mountain. Children love rhythm and rhyme come to me in and out of time. The body, when it separates from the soul, perishes in a heaven of sheep. The soul stays behind, chirping, 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 like a bird at a street crossing for the blind. Kiefer's, Anselm Kiefer. Fertility of brick and lead, not grass or worm. Fertility of weeds, dry, dry as sunlight, drawn and quartered into the skin of bone. Fertility of human beings, bones, fertilizing bones. I have a place in the countryside here, and this was written there. Morning panorama reverie. And the grass that grows long in the evening and fondles the icy stars lies damp in the dew in the morning, asleep on the earth. And the silver birch across the way, weeping in morning's coral sunlight, weeps at night, sweeping the moon with yellowing leaves. And the sun, drifting across the Tiffany blue sky, satiated from its feast in the dark night, caresses the fins of the minnows in the lake. And the hop vine above the fence, strangling the apple trees enticingly in a noose, invites me to the liquor cabinet to lift a toast to death. And the bucket asleep sideways on the well cover, thirsty for the dark liquids of Mother Earth, for the moment bailing only the amber grease of its dreams. And the rusty wheelbarrow that wants to be painted red, and have the neighbor's rooster crow from the lectern of its handlebars, and the sorrowful rose of Sharon with its first buds pinched off and thrown into the manger of compost with banana peels and corn husks, oaten reeds and mushy crab apples, and the cup of dark roast on the deck, sip by sip, pulsing from my mouth to my groin, and last, the embers in the ashes in last night's fire pit, glimmering like the down of a phoenix, greeting the oasis of morning light. Opening the window to let the air come in, and the darkness on the dark wind. Not to lie alone and isolate in the room, I opened the window to let the night air in. But better I had remained with you side by side alone than to have let the darkness join in with the wind and gutter the light and blanket the floor, the walls and the ceiling, the hours, everything. Cradle song for Mickey and Kiva. Tonight, no nanny, no mommy, but daddy is here, lulling you asleep, there's nothing to fear, singing you sweet low and swing low and fish jumping too, singing you tooraloora and pretty horses in a row, singing you Jordan and Gilead, Valhalla and the Red Sea, singing your mommy's heart, singing you my artless soul. Oh, your eyes are like stars, your smiles pearly shells. Dream, dream on, your cradle my arms, night's nestling balm, till morning the sun. My children marvel at the word green and ask, is it a thing? Does it look like gray? Does it grow like the mold in the kitchen, on the walls of trees that grow in the movies? They ask. If it is the dirt floor in the park where the Labradors and the Rottweilers poop, they ask why they are not allowed to go there, to touch it, the real green, to enter. And I look at them with pity in my heart and tell them, here, I'll draw a copy of green for you. Green, and you can touch it one letter at a time. And then they ask if green is a god, so still and dumb and made out of paper and letters. And I tell them, no, green is not still and dumb, and yes, green is a god that endlessly echoes itself in a dirge, in the archives of a library, in a secret place far away, in another warp of space and time. And then they ask me, what does dirge mean? And I tell them that dirge means green. And here are a few poems for the upcoming selected poems in Germany, the love poems, Shoelaces for Chagall. The first is a prose poem, Almost Invisible, for Sonata. Sunlight billows into her room half the day long, as it should. Sometimes leaves are falling, and the light skitters between the leaves to get in. When the leaves aren't falling, still nimbly attached to the branches of the birch trees, the light then gently flutters among the leaves and around the branches, and enters the window fluttering, and flutters on the carpet and wall, dancing with its partners, the trembling shadows. She watches the spectacle on her wall from her bed, and at a certain time she knows the dance will end, though that moment of time mingles with the time of the day and the seasons always changing. A leaf falls on her bed, another on the windowsill, then on her. Another time will come when only the shadow of the branches and the broken light will dance on her wall, a much slower dance through the moisture on the window. The leaves will carpet the ground in yellow and brown. Then she will wait for the moonlight to come into the room. Earlier, in late summer, the apples in the apple tree shimmered silver in the moonlight. The bark of the birches also silver. The apples now have all fallen or been picked and eaten, given to lovers and children. She gets out of bed and stands framed in the window as if in a Hopper painting, looking out at the empty branches, the windows across the way, a few visible stars, the moon. She shimmers silver in its light, like a glass of champagne at a wedding without a bride or groom. And she sees her face in the window pane, a nimbus of air covered with drops of water, almost invisible, delicately attached to the darkness as the moonlight slithers across the branches of the apple tree and the birches. My love is the hawk of my heart. My love is the hawk of my heart. She tears me apart, meseems, each time I settle in the shadow of her wings. She makes my soul iridescent, my blood sing. The foxfire of her eyes is the moon making the earth hound her whole in the night. The taste of her mouth, the bouquet of wine that turns me around, piques me timelessly upside down. My love is the night at high noon, a stray lamb, a lunatic, an earthquake under a door jamb, a tower of jewels and stars, the sun rising, a mermaid from her shell in the morning. And always my love is the hawk of my heart, red-tailed and buzzard dovetailed in separate. No raven on doorsill, nor mere maiden on shingle. She's shining, sheer siren, sure sound of the kill on furlough. And a last poem, Dictation. When earth gave me birth, you were already there, fishing for an anchor in the catacombs of my cell. When earth gave me birth, your eyes eclipsed the sun and the moon and darkened into the galaxy of my screen. When earth gave me birth, it was clear that my life was yours, racing like an arrow through a heel. When you were born, I was already there, pollinated like a bee, crushed in the tulip of your heart. When you were born, my eyes took their first vows and my tears washed your feet. When you were born, no one knew that your blood was mine running down our mother's thighs. When we die, my changeling, into a harvest moon of bliss, no one, not even death, will undo us. Thank you.